Hello, Power Tribe. I'm Murray Dewick,
And I'm Tricia Warren.
and you're listening to Samuel's Mantle Podcast. If you're spiritually sensitive, have dreams or visions, we're here to help you discover you're not crazy. You're probably actually hearing from God.
And when you're hanging out with us, we will help you connect with Jesus, feel his heart, hear his voice, and make sense of the ways you've been hearing from him.
Through practical tools, heartfelt teaching, you will discover that connecting to God is actually your superpower. He has gifted you with the power of the Holy Spirit to connect.
So let's jump in and grow in experiencing him like never before. Welcome back. And today's show is called, What Kind of Dream Was That?
Understanding the language of your dreams. Bubbly time. Or in my case, kombucha, but it is bubbly. So again, a good symbol of effervescence, the Holy Spirit. Jesus says you'll have flowing out of you a river of life. So that's our symbol for that, since we're talking about symbolisms. And today we're going to do some work on dreams again for a few episodes. And everybody dreams, as we have said, and you can look at that on past episodes. But there's like 30 different kinds of dreams.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Like counseling dreams and healing dreams and invention dreams and future dreams, prophetic dreams and warfare dreams and washing off dreams. So today we're mainly going to stick with counseling dreams. So think getting counsel, God giving you counsel. I will counsel you with my wisdom. So not sitting in a counselor's office, right? Maybe a little bit of that too, of course. But the old saying is, if you're the main character in your dream, the dream is mainly about you.
Yes.
So, for most people, 95% of our dreams, we're the main character. And so that would be a counseling dream, getting counsel from God. Here's what's going on in your life. Here's what I'm going to do for you. And we need to, there are prophetic elements to that, but often what we're doing is, instead of making what God's saying to us, we often treat, in Christianity in particular, all dreams are external. They're about somebody else. They're about prophetic. They're about this. But you have to be willing to look in your own heart and understand what's going there if you want to understand dreams, particularly if you're the main character.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example of that because I know I have so many friends who have this dream and they might just message me saying, I had a dream about you, and they think it's about me, not them. That happens all the time, which is awesome. And maybe there's an element of that. But even just recently, my husband, Bruce, had this dream. And he told me the dream, and it was such a great dream.
Yeah.
And it had Japan in it, right? And he thought for sure this is a world prophetic dream. He thought that, and I said, well, let's unpack this. And so we unpacked it a little bit, and then a lot, and he realized, oh, this is not a world prophetic dream. This is a counseling dream for myself. So that's pretty cool how that happens. I mean, we've been studying dreams for a long time. And I was guilty of that too when I was younger. I thought every dream I had was prophetic, but really only 5% of our dreams are prophetic.
And again, next week, we're going to look at the prophetic part. Even in counseling dreams, you can find the prophetic part. So we're going to look at counsel dreams here first. But the idea is, in a counsel dream, it's kind of like this. Here's what you're going through. And the prophetic part is, here's what I'm going to do for you. Mm-hmm. Right. And you want to learn how to separate that out. Which part is about what you're going through and God wants to talk about it, and then what does he want to do for you? Because then you can partner with him and really see change really happen quickly. And so that's what we're going to do here. But to understand that, you need to understand this, the 3 rules of 3. Mm-hmm. Okay. And this is all in a book, everybody, called The Dreams We Dream, which is a book I wrote, and Samuel's Mantle published it, so you can find that online. And so we're going to quote right out of that book, 3 rules of 3. And we're going to do the first one today, but here's what the 3 rules of 3 are. A dream can be biblical, cultural, personal, in symbols. Okay? Biblical, cultural, personal. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is a dream can be past, present, future. So a dream can sometimes be about your past. God saying, I want to work on this. Remember when this happened? That's still causing you trouble up here, right? So past, right? Present, what's going on in your life, like Tricia shared about Bruce, or future, right? So past, present, future. The third rule of 3, the dream can be about you, 95%. It could be where you're with a group of people, or it's just about what you're observing, right? Straight out prophetic. And so we're going to break those down, starting with the first one today, symbolism. A dream can be biblical, it can be cultural, it can be personal in the symbols that you have. And so, in other words, you know, biblical, okay, you got your Bible. Cultural, we all live in the same culture. Personal, for that, you can't really have a dream book because it's what it means to you. So let's break that down.
All right, so I'm going to start with reading Proverbs 1, verse 5 to 6. Let the wise listen and add to their meaning, and let the discerning get guidance. For understanding proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. Love that verse.
Yeah, and why that's a good verse, everybody, to start with is that we think parables and proverbs like a dream. Oh, it's silly, I don't get it. But the Bible's saying, no, this is the language of the wise and the learned. And how you get discernment from God is to understand things like this, right? And you do it in the Bible already because we all live in the same biblical symbolism. So, for example, the armor of God. Like if some non-Christian walk into a church or the Sunday school room and there on the wall was a drawing of the armor of God, he would go, "What are you guys into? You kill people? Why would you have that?" And you would go, "No, no, no. I got it. This is helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, belt of truth." And you guys can finish the rest because we all have the same biblical symbolism. Like and so that God uses that in dreams. And we'll give you some example. But that's not the only thing he uses. But let's give an example of that, just the biblical symbolism, because we tend to not interpret it. We tend to read by it often. So look at this verse. Tricia's going to read it. But listen to how lion and lamb here, because we all know, right? Biblically, Jesus is these two things. He's the lion. He is the lamb. They represent two different things. But watch how the Bible swaps those two out.
I know, it's so beautifully. All right. So this is in Revelation 5. Then I saw in the right hand of him who sat on the throne a scroll with writing on both sides and sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a mighty angel proclaiming in a loud voice, "Who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll?" But no one in heaven or on earth or under the earth could open the scroll or even look inside it. I wept and I wept because no one was found who was worthy to open the scroll or look inside.
Hmm.
Then one of the elders said to me, "Do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed, and he is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals." And then I saw a lamb, looking as if it had been slain, standing in the center of the throne, encircled by the 4 living creatures and the elders. And afterwards it talks about how the lamb was able to open the scroll.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody just let's picture this. Let's just think about this. So John is weeping and weeping because no one's found worthy. And then the elder walks up to him and says, "Look, the lion," like he says, "See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah has overcome. See, look," right? What do you think he's going to see? Well, you would expect to see a lion. But he doesn't. He turns and he looks, and what does he see? Then I saw a lamb looking as if it's been slain, standing in the center of a throne. Okay, so we're like, well, that's Jesus. But why is it swapping out lamb for lion? It's doing that on a purpose and putting a sacrificed lamb on the middle of a throne representing, what does a throne represent? Power, rulership, governance, authority, right? Well, wouldn't that be where the lion should be? Doesn't a lion represent power, authority, rulership, right? But it's not. The message is Jesus didn't overcome by his glory. He laid his glory down, right? He laid down that lion part of him when he became a human to become the lamb. And he won by sacrificing himself. And that gives him authority. And that's the theology. In 2 little animals swapping places right there. The Bible loves symbolism. And that kind of thing happens in our dreams if we pay attention. So that's biblical. There's lots of it. And of course, if we keep reading through Revelation, there's lots more.
Oh, yeah.
But we are going to leave that alone for today.
Yeah, we would be here for hours. Yes.
Mhm.
Then there's also the cultural wordplay and colloquial expressions that we have in our culture today. So, for example, we often, let's just talk about a car. We hear the sayings, I'm stuck in second gear, life in the fast lane, I'm driving in circles. You know, in our culture, we would all know what we're talking about. We're talking about our life and our circumstances and what's going on. And so, for example, even with the dream I mentioned about Bruce, there was a Mazda in his dream, and he thought that had to do with you know, Japanese, right?
What's
Not
going
that
on in the Japanese government
yeah,
and
I know,
economy?
and I feel bad making fun of him, but we are going to hear from him in the next episode. He can defend himself there.
That's right.
I mean, it is so easy to just think everything is about outside of you, right? But yeah, so just having that show up in a dream, you know, where you're stuck in second gear, for example. I mean, you might just think, oh, you know, you don't understand what your dream means, but it's actually comparing it to our culture, our own wordplay that we have in our own culture. So, Murray, you have a really good example in the
Yeah.
Bible with this, with Gideon.
Yeah. So here's Gideon. Here's an example of a colloquial expression. So stuck life in the fast lane, going around in circles. Those are expressions. And so in our Western culture, since we all drive cars, we would all go, "Oh, I know what that means. Stuck in the mud. Are you feeling stuck in the mud somewhere?" You know, that's called bridging. Like so, but you know, let's say you go to a culture they don't have a lot of cars, and you would say, "I've had a dream about being stuck in the mud in a car." Like, what? That doesn't make any sense because in their culture, you know, it's not common for them. So,
Exactly.
but in the Bible, we see this too. Now, here's an example from Gideon. This is Gideon in Judges 7. And he's going to go down. You guys all know the passage, but I'll just read it to you. So I won't read the whole story. But God says, if you're still afraid, you know, go down to the Median camp and listen. And so here's what he hears. During the night, the Lord said to Gideon, get up and go down to the camp because I'm going to give it into your hands. If you are afraid to attack, go down to the camp with your servant and listen to what they're saying. Afterwards, you'll be encouraged to attack the camp. So he and Purah, his servant, went down to the outpost of the camp. The Midianites, the Amalekites, and all the other eastern peoples had settled in the valley thick as locusts. Their camels could be no more be counted than the sand on the seashore. Gideon arrived just as a man was telling a friend his dream. I had a dream, he was saying. A round loaf of barley bread came tumbling down into the Midianite camp. It struck the tent with such force that the tent overturned and collapsed. His friend responded, this can be nothing other than the sword of Gideon, son of Joash, the Israelite. God has given the Midianite and the whole camp into his hands. When Gideon heard the dream and its interpretation, he bowed down and worshipped. So how in the world does a barley loaf rolling down the hill
I know.
striking?
I always wondered that when I read that story. What? A barley? That meant that?
Yeah, how did he come up with that interpretation? Well, you remember how the calling of Gideon happens. He's hiding in a wine press, sifting wheat. It might even been barley. And the angel comes and calls him. And remember, he's hiding in a hole in the ground so he's scared to death. And this story of Gideon has gotten out to the Midianites, how he's become their leader. And they've made a joke about him. Oh, Gideon, that barley thresher, because barley it's not something a person eats. It's only an animal. Only animals eat that.
Ah,
And that's what the Israelites are having to eat at the time because the Midianites stole all their food, right? So they were calling Gideon a barley thresher. So when that barley thresher. So they knew because they had this cultural expression about Gideon. So when they saw a barley loaf coming rolling down the hill, they knew that was about Gideon because they were calling him that, the whole camp of them, right? So that's an example in the Bible of cultural expression. But there's lots of that. Jesus says, let the dead bury the dead. You know, that's a good wordplay. Like, we'll look at more of this, but there's all kinds of this stuff in scripture. And sometimes if you can find the in your dream, the cultural expression, colloquial, you know, life in the fast lane, what's on your plate today, you know, you're going to find it. So here's a little dream. I'll give you a little example of a cultural expression. So I had a dream where somebody knocked on my door and it was summer. So I just had the screen door there. The other door was open. And this guy had this giant head. Like I'm talking like 2 feet by 2 feet. Right.
wow.
And I opened the door and he was trying to get in my house. And I bent down with my head and I started pushing on his head. And so our heads were like pushing each other. I'm trying to push him out. He's trying to push in. And I woke up. What's the meaning of the dream? I was going head to head with him. Right. Cultural expression right there. What does that mean? You're in battle with somebody. So there is something trying to, a belief system or maybe something demonic but there is the Lord is in sense of humor. Going head to head. That's a colloquial expression. That helped me interpret that dream like super fast once God uses that. And he does all the time, like that example, super quick of Jacob stealing Esau's birthright. Remember, he's cooking food. Even in the text there, it means because he's going to steal his birthright. I'll give you this food if you give me your birthright, right? It means that he's cooking up or stirring up trouble. And we're like, we use that today, but that's in the text. Of course,
Wow.
so the Bible has hundreds of those, thousands of them actually. So, but we'll get to that. But there's a good one.
Yeah, so many. I mean, I'll just do a little bit more about pick on Bruce a little bit more. So
Yeah.
some of the symbols in Bruce's dream, I know he had a remote control and he was trying to remote close his window with the remote control, but every time he closed it, it would go up. And he was like getting really, really frustrated. And interestingly, at that time he was looking for remote work, and it kind
Bum
of
bum ba.
and it
Yes.
was talking about how he was feeling. He was feeling frustrated because there was another person with a remote control that was trying to put their window up, and he thinks the other person probably was
That was
Jesus,
the
right?
Lord. And of course, there's a biblical, he kept trying to close the window, but the other person kept opening it. There's a Bible verse about that, isn't there? Uh, you know, God opening a door or window that no man can shut.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we're definitely going to have Bruce explain himself in the next episode.
Yeah.
All right, and
But
then, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, share that baggage dream. That's another good one. It's so short.
Oh, yeah, this was just I mean, it was so obviously symbolic, but I was getting ready to travel in my dream, I was going to be traveling to Toronto to see my family. And in my dream, I had this really old suitcase and I was trying to actually fit it into my new suitcase to bring it along to Toronto. And I actually did go to Toronto in November to see my mom, but so I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. What could that possibly mean? Putting my old baggage into my new suitcase. Like, okay, that's pretty obvious, right, Murray?
Well, if you understand wordplay, like or cultural expression, like um, the saying would be, like, do you have some old baggage you're carrying around, or
Exactly.
like in your life, are you dealing with issues and stuff like that you're taking with you? Attitudes, judgments, old relationships
And
that you,
whenever you visit family, you probably are doing that, right?
yeah, dealing with some baggage.
So yeah, so obviously symbolic.
Yeah, but again, there's a good cultural expression, right? That guy's got baggage. Like, do you want to date him? No, that guy's got baggage,
I
right?
know.
Like, there's an example. So personal, one more.
Okay.
So a biblical, cultural, and we'll do a lot more in that. I love colloquial expression at work because it's so much of it in the Bible. Personal. Okay, if you, and it's very important to get personal. What does it mean to you personally? So
Mm.
if I asked the class, everybody, I'm going to give you one word. What does it mean to you? And I say this word, oatmeal. Okay, everybody, what it means. And some people go, love it, hate it.
I hate it.
Yeah. And I kind of like it, actually, to be honest. So there you go. And my mom forced it upon me. It's
That's what
something from
happened to me. Yes.
yeah. And so, I mean, that's just a word like oatmeal. Think about if I said mother or policeman. What does that mean to you personally? So, what it means to us personally, we also need to take that into consideration because all of us have our own culture, gift mix, personality type, longings, dreams, desires, past history, likes and dislikes, and God uses that. Right. He uses that when he speaks to us, and we need to be aware of that. And this is why a lot of dream interpretation falls down, where people do it for a while and they quit because they have a dream book and they go to it and go, well, that just doesn't make sense. Well, that's often because your symbolism, you're missing the key of colloquial expression and wordplay and personal.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, even for example, I have two friends and if they both, one loves dogs and one was attacked by a dog when they were young. So if one has a dream with a dog in it and they love dogs, that dog has such a great symbol for them. They just love the dog and it means
yeah,
something good. And then another person who has a dream, if there's a dog in the dream, they're scared. It means scary, bad, not good, right? So
yeah,
there's another example why a dream interpretation book doesn't work for everybody because it's about your own personal experiences, and you can't just say dog is good in all dreams, right?
Yeah, like, I have two pastor friends, and one of them was believes when they have a dream of a dog, it's always the Lord, and the other one has a dream of a dog, it's always the devil. And you're like, well, why is that? Because one was attacked by a dog as a kid, and one was saved by a dog as a kid. So
Yes.
personal, right? So okay, and that brings us to personal symbols. Something very, very important we wanted to put in here. Why often we screw our dreams up, and it's because people are symbolic in dreams. Most, if it's the dream, if you're the main character in a dream and a dream is mainly about you, it's then what you think about that person. That's the thing. And so if you read the story of the prodigal son does this. Like when I first read that, I thought, man, I'm like that younger brother. That's me. And I got a little bit older, and now I'm like the father. But it's what they represent to me, right?
Mhm.
And now I think I'm more like the older brother. I hate to say that, but I see a lot of older brother in me as I get older. It's very embarrassing, but has the parable changed? No, I've changed. And because of that,
Ah.
it represents different aspects of things I'm finding out about myself, right? They're symbolic of fathering, of religion, but so, five people can listen to that and have completely different connections. It's really quite powerful. Try it out, everybody. Sit in with a group of people, read the story of the prodigal, and go, who do you relate to here? Why? So, who do you relate to? Why does that connect? And then ask, what part of that story of that person do you connect to? Like the
Mm.
father giving people their inheritance, which he shouldn't have done. The father waiting, or the father running to his arm. Like, why? And you'll see everybody's a little different. Why? Because we're in different places in life, believing different things, need different healing in our heart. So it's very personal. So I'll give you an example. Uh, this is the one I use in class. So somebody came to me at the end of a class and short little dream and said, I've had this horrible, horrible dream. Do you think it's prophetic? I said, well, tell me the dream. So here's the dream. In the dream, her name was, I'm making up a name here, Christina, I believe, something like that. God bless her. And I'm in my condo, and my daughter is sitting on my lap, Chelsea, and the people are breaking in. They're breaking in my door. They're breaking in my windows. And as they do, I take a knife and I stab it and kill my daughter. Oh, what's going to happen? I'm like, now, obviously, that's not a prophetic dream. How do we know that? Because it doesn't produce the fruit of the Spirit, right?
Mm.
Peace, joy, goodness. Where is it? It's not there. But it doesn't mean anything. So to
Mm.
take a dream like that and just go, oh, it's demonic, throw it away. So, because you have to figure out, what do these people mean to you? Where do you feel those emotions in your life, right? Where are
Mm.
you doing that action, maybe even? So I just said to her, okay, so describe to me the people breaking in your doors and windows. How did you feel? Anxious, overwhelmed, fearful. So I said, do you feel anxious, overwhelmed, and fearful somewhere in your life? Oh, everywhere. I've lost my job. My car is broken down. Okay, I'm feeling exactly like that. I said, well, describe your daughter to me. What does she mean to you? Oh, dreams of life. When I was a little girl, I just didn't have any dreams. So she represents dreams of life to me. So I just repeated back to her. So when you feel anxious, overwhelmed, and fearful, do you kill your own dreams of life? She goes, oh my goodness, I just took my prayer journal and threw it in the garbage can and gave up on all God's promises to me,
Wow.
because she killed her own dreams of life when she was feeling fearful, overwhelmed, right? That dream was to give her counsel of what she was doing so God could show her something else to do. Because those people were symbolic of what they meant to her. The feelings were symbolic. People. So sometimes you have a dream, look at the feelings. Where do you feel them in real life, if you do? And number two, what do the people mean to you? What do they mean to you? It's just, but people
So
can mean
beautiful.
good things too.
Yes.
So, I mean, we'll do it. Just, we don't want to end on that. We'll end on a good one.
Well, then I have a question for you. My dream, and I've shared this I've talked a few times in our podcast about that, where I get the flowers and I have the card and it says, after I see Jesus after that and everything.
Yeah.
But at that moment, I have a card that says, to Trish, with love from Paul Kane and Bob Jones. So what would you say those guys as people would have meant?
So here, everybody, this would be a question. So you just ask somebody, so what do those people mean to you when you hear those names, Trish? Paul Kane, Bob Jones, what do they mean to you? What?
That's a very good question. So what they meant to me back then, they were like the prophetic dudes in the late 80s, early
Yes, they
90s,
were.
right? They were the prophetic guys. So for some reason, so they would actually symbolize the prophetic,
See?
right? I guess they
Yeah,
would.
100%.
So I guess it was a card saying, "Welcome to the prophetic," maybe?
Yes. So because you got it from them, it represented being, I mean, this will fit into our next episode. The gift or promise being given to you was in
Mm.
prophetic ministry, right? And because
Ah.
of what they meant to you. So,
Oh, so cool.
yeah. So often, I dream of the prophetic because, it's a prophetic podcast. So I remember I used to dream of John Paul Jackson, and he would be like 10 feet tall and I'd be like 3 feet tall. And as time went on, he got shorter and I got taller. And, you know, this would be a
So when you
colloquial
say that,
expression.
like he got shorter, as in he was not 10 feet, he went down
Yeah.
to 9, and then you
Yeah,
might have
that's
went to
right.
4, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I went from like 3 to 4 to 5 until, as 15 years went by, we were the same size. And why would that be? Colloquial expression, wordplay. I was growing in stature, right?
Ah,
Yeah, there it is.
that's
And
awesome.
and why John Paul Jackson? What does he mean to me? Growing in prophetic ministry, right? That's what he represents. So looking for a colloquial expression and knowing people are symbolic. Well, after a while, you can just look at it and go, "Oh, there it is. It's right there." Right? So yeah, it's good skills to have that really start unlocking. You got to remember every day. Dreams are a language, like learning French or German,
Mm.
right? It's like, and once you have the tools, you just have it. It's just a matter of having some of these little nuances. It's taken us 20 years to learn this stuff, and we're very happy to pass it on to you.
That's awesome. And then everybody listening today, once you start hearing, teachings and things about dreams, guess what? You're going to start to remember your dreams because it's on your mind now, and you're going to go, "Oh, I
Yeah,
want to remember my dream, and I want to know what people symbolize in my dream." It's going to be so much fun. And some
it
of you
is
already
fun.
remember your dreams already, but it's going to take it to another level.
Just keep in mind, everybody, this is in the book, The Dreams We Dream, right? And you can find it on the Samuel's Mantle website or on Amazon. And so if you're like, "Oh, I didn't catch all that. Is there more to that?" Absolutely. Just go there. You can get it. It's great.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for hanging out with us today.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
We'll see you next week. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. If you have rated and reviewed the show, that means so much to us. Your heartfelt feedback always reminds us why we do this. And hey, let's stay connected. Pop over to the website where we have some free gifts for you to learn just how prophetic you are. Find them at samuelsmantle.com.
And if you'd like to get access to the vault where we keep all the good stuff, you can become a partner on the website as well. Remember, encountering God is your superpower by the power of the Holy Spirit. Keep leaning in, and we'll catch you next week.